Good afternoon, Year 8. Welcome to your next geography lesson, and the first one I've done a recording like this to, so I hope it helps. Any feedback is always welcome. Just send me an email. So first thing to do is to grab yourself a pen and your exercise book and copy out this title, Why is Everything Made in China? That should take you about 1 minute. If you get going now, that would be great. I will tell you when to pause the video and you can pause it then. I'm not going to wait for a minute sitting here doing nothing. So when I say pause the video, please do, and then unpause it and we'll carry on. So pause the video now. Okay, great. You should have the title written, the date as well. So by the end of today's lesson, you should be able to describe what the term industrialization means. That is the key term for this lesson, the main one. If you know what the word industry means, then you're off to a good start. If you don't, well, don't worry, you'll find out in a minute. We're then going to describe how the types of job done in China have changed since 1980, providing some evidence for industrialization. And finally, we're going to explain 3 factors that have caused it. So all around that word industrialization. As I said, you'll need a pen, and that's it. So let's get straight into the do now. For each definition on the screen, write a key term. This should take you, well, put 5 minutes there, probably even less. So give that a go. Pause the video now. Okay, fantastic. So here are the answers. Double check if you've got any wrong, then please make any corrections. So how much money the country makes in a year divided by the population, that's GNI, or gross national income per person. B, a combination of GNI, life expectancy, and literacy rate is the Human Development Index. C, how long people have been in school is the education or the literacy rate. If you've written literacy or education rate, that's fine. D, how much money the country makes in a year. Again, the GNI, this time not per person though. The average age that someone is expected to live to is their life expectancy, measured in years. So well done. Hopefully your brain is now thinking about geography again and some of these key terms that you learned last lesson. So we're straight into this. So have a look at the photos. You've got photos on the left with an arrow leading to the photos on the right. What's changing between these pictures and what could have caused this change? You've got 2 minutes to have a little think about that. If you want to jot some ideas down, feel free, but otherwise just have a think and pause the video now. Okay, so what's going on? Well, it's about this, industrialization. These photos are really showing you the basics of what this is. Photos on the left, you've got farmers involved in the employed in agriculture, in farming. On the right, we've got factories at the top producing shoes. At the bottom, well, we don't know what, but certainly a lot of steam and other gases being emitted out of those chimneys. So definitely a factory of some kind. And this is what industrialization is all about. It's where a country changes the type of job that most people do, not everyone, but that most people do, from farming to manufacturing. Most countries in the world, this has happened to. And China, just like us, just like many countries, it's exactly the same thing there. Manufacturing meaning making things in factories. So copy that sentence down, and there's your key definition. Pause the video now. Okay, so in a country, there are 3 main types of jobs that people can do. We're going to go through those in just a second, but the first thing you need to do, leave a line from your industrialization definition and jot this sentence down. You can pause the video now. Excellent. So for each of the types of job, there's a definition on the screen. Copy that down. And then I'd like you can use the photos for this, to give 3 examples of jobs in that category. So for the first one, here we go. Primary jobs, jobs that obtain or provide natural raw materials. So have a look at those 4 photos, copy that sentence down, and write 3 types of job that might be considered a primary job. Pause the video now. So you may have written farming, fishing, mining, logging, or if you want to use a slightly old-fashioned term, lumberjacks, whatever you'd like to use. Any of these are obtaining or providing raw materials, food, fish, trees and timber and the wood from them, the stone or the minerals being mined. Anything that extracts raw materials from the ground is a primary job. Secondary jobs. Copy the sentence down and then try and give me 3 example jobs. Pause the video now. Okay, so secondary jobs that convert the raw materials provided by those primary jobs into products. Essentially, mostly factory work. So top left, you have a car factory of some kind, so something to do with that. Top right, a steel works. Bottom left, some form of textiles, in this case I think a rug manufacturing factory. In the bottom right, you've got some kind of sewing going on, I believe. Some kind of clothes factory or something similar to that. Construction is also included in this. The building of buildings, that is also considered secondary. And finally for today, tertiary jobs, a job that provides a service for a customer, a service being something that you do for them. I don't have certain skills. For example, if I was to break my leg, I wouldn't know how to treat that, so I rely on doctors, on nurses, on surgeons perhaps even, to provide a service for me. They use their skills and are paid for that. On the board you can see, or on the screen even, I'm used to saying board, on the screen you can see a selection of different jobs. So copy that sentence down and give me 3 examples of jobs that provide services. Pause the video now. Okay, so types of jobs, well, some of the ones on the screen, people involved in kind of trades, so plumbers, electricians, carpenters, these things. Yes, you could argue also that they are involved in construction, but the service they offer, the skills they offer, are considered tertiary. You've got anyone working in any sort of office job, be they a solicitor, an accountant, a receptionist, someone filing data, delivery drivers on the screen there. Many people are considered tertiary workers. In fact, if you think about all the people you know and the jobs they do, I can almost guarantee you that most of those, if not all of them, will be tertiary. They will be service-related jobs. So quick little test of that. Let's check that you understand that. So we're going to work through a few different jobs. All I'd like you to do is jot down whether you think they're primary, secondary, or tertiary. I'll give you about 10 seconds for each. So A, police officers. B, miners. C, farmers. D, someone who works in a supermarket. E, a computer technician of some kind. F, someone who works in a clothes factory. Okay, let's do some answers then. So, police officer, tertiary, the service they offer is their ability to uphold the law, to interpret the law, and to potentially arrest people who break it. A miner, we've already done that one, so that should have been a bit easier. A primary job, extracting the metal or the rock or whatever it is they're extracting from the ground, that raw material. Farmers, again, primary. They are growing, yes, but also extracting raw materials. Food is considered a raw material, be it the plants that they're growing or the animals that they're breeding. If they were to take that and process that food, so let's say the farmer has grown some sweet corn and they take it to that is taken to a factory, and in the factory that sweet corn is cleaned and put into tins, that it becomes a secondary job. But the farming itself, the growing of the food, is primary. Supermarket, tertiary. The service a supermarket offers is it's a convenient place where you can go and purchase food and other goods in a very easy and convenient environment, usually for a good price. So that's the service they offer. A computer technician, again, a service. They use their skills at be it fixing, mending, programming, whatever it is they're doing to your computer or to their computers, and they offer you that service where you can't do it yourself. And the clothes factory is secondary. Being a factory, that one should be nice and simple. They are manufacturing clothes, so therefore are secondary. So I'd like you to copy this subtitle next. What types of job do people do in China? Write it up against the margin and underline it just like I have there. You can pause the video now. Okay, so a little bit of skills work here. I've got a graph for you on the left, figure 4.1, China's industrialization. Along the x-axis, you've got dates from 1980 to 2013. On the y-axis, you've got percentages from 0 to 50% as a share of the GDP. Now, GDP is very similar to GNI. It's about money. It's about the money made in that country. So this is showing you the percentage of the money made in the country for primary, secondary, and tertiary jobs. Primary in green, secondary in red, and tertiary in blue. So look carefully at that graph. Look at how it changes. This being a line graph, you can see change over time, and copy and complete the 4 paragraphs that I've written on the right. Some of the gaps are words, some of them are numbers. I'm hoping you should be able to work that out. Obviously, if there's a percentage after the line, then that is definitely a number. If it's not the percentage afterwards, then it is going to be a word. This should take a bit of time. This should take a good 10 to 15 minutes to complete. So get cracking and pause the video now. Okay, so a little challenge as well. You should have completed that paragraph. If it's taken you a fairly short amount of time, then have a go at this challenge. If you have taken 15 odd minutes to complete that paragraph, then maybe skip this bit, move on. You can always come back to it later if you have time in this hour. So the challenge, to compare the graph for China, the one you've just been studying, and compare it with this new graph, which shows the changes in the UK's employment structure, meaning how the primary, secondary, and tertiary jobs have changed. You'll notice on there, if you look carefully, that there's a 4th category, quaternary. There's an example of a difference. In the Chinese graph, there is no quaternary. The quaternary jobs are knowledge jobs. They're jobs like in research and development. A lot of online jobs are considered knowledge jobs, things that involve information, knowing information and transferring information to different people, finding new information out. So there's one difference for you. You can have a little look and see what else you can work out. Look at the times. Look at how the different types of job have changed and see if you can jot a few ideas down. You can pause the video now. Okay, so answers. Check and correct if needed. I'm not going to read through it. I'll let you read through it yourself. All the bold words and numbers are the answers to the main task. If you've made any mistakes, then this is your chance to correct it. If you've written slightly different words, so I've written decreased. If you've written, say, fallen, if it makes perfect sense, that's fine. You don't need to change things like that. I'll let you work that out. But if you're unsure, copy my word out. If you're not sure, use mine, and you know it's then correct for your notes and for your revision. Pause the video now. Okay, we're on to the final part of this lesson then. So we've established that China has industrialized. Most jobs are in the secondary sector, although, as hopefully you've identified there, the tertiary sector has caught up with it very rapidly over the last few decades. And now it's time to explain this. Why has China industrialized? Well, there are many, many, many reasons, but we're going to focus on 3 to keep it as simple as we can. So please copy that subtitle, pause the video now. Okay, so we are going to be producing a flowchart here to show how the 3 different reasons we're going to focus on cause industrialization. So mechanization is resulting in, well, mechanization, as you can see from the photo, is the use of machines, replacing workers in the farms, in the agricultural businesses, with machines that can do the job of many people and therefore are cheaper for the businesses themselves. Next, we've got the increase in rural to urban migration. That's a key term you should be familiar with from a few lessons ago. If you're not, might be worth just going back and double checking that in your book. You also came across it in year 7 when learning about Africa and the reason why people end up living in shanty towns. And as the final section of this part of the flowchart, China has become an industrialized country. Well, there are some other reasons as well. There are the other 3. Well, I say 3, the other 2 that lead to the same point about companies investing in China. So investment. Investment is when you spend money and resources in order to make a profit. So these companies are spending their money and their resources in China to build factories specifically here. That's what you need to know about investment. Other than that, hopefully all the other words make sense. I guess one to clarify, China has cheap land and labor, meaning work, employment. People generally are happy to accept a lower wage, so it has cheap labor. Your job is going to be to complete each of those sentences where the dots are. Now, to help you with that, you've got some answers to use in the bottom right, so work out where they go to help develop and explain each of those points. And then we're going to move to the next slide and see the answers. There's a challenge there as well. Can you think of any further reasons? I told you there are many, many, many reasons. See if you can come up with some others. You can pause the video now and complete that task. Okay, let's do some answers. So mechanization is resulting in fewer jobs available on the farm. This has increased rural to urban migration. This means that there are more people now wanting to work in cities in manufacturing, in factories, and China has become an industrialized country. Also, China opened up its economy in the 1970s. This meant that it allowed foreign companies to build factories on its land. It also has cheap land and labor. This means that companies are attracted to build and use factories in China. So what? Well, companies are investing in China and building factories. This means that more secondary jobs are created. And again, China has therefore become an industrialized country. So you've got 3 reasons: mechanization, the opening up of the economy in the 1970s, and cheap land and labor. All 3 of those leading to the growth in industry and the fact that many people work in China, and the fact that this helps to explain why the GNI of China is so high. To finish then, a little true or false, just to get you reflecting on the lesson. There'll be a quiz in a lesson or two's time, but for now, true or false, A, B, C, D, and E. If you do this quickly and you have some time left, a challenge would be any that are false, rewrite them out but make them true. See how you could change them. It should take 5 minutes or so. Get thinking and jot down either true or false. You can pause the video now. Okay, and to finish for today, the answers. A and E are both correct. B, C, D are false. So B, industrialization is when a country gains more primary jobs. No, secondary jobs would be the way to correct that. C, most people in China work in secondary jobs. No, not today. If you go back to the graph, you'll remember that actually secondary and tertiary jobs are kind of tied for most people today. And D, primary jobs include factory workers. No, they do not. Secondary jobs include factory workers, or you could have changed it to say primary jobs include farmers, miners, loggers, fisherwomen. Don't know what the word is for that. There we go. Hopefully that all makes sense. Anything doesn't, then feel free to go back through the lesson again, or to email me and ask any questions you've got. Hope you're all well. Hope you're keeping safe and sane at home, and look forward to our next lesson together. Thank you very much.